side is a target.
Can my side be firm?
My side's super soft. Sleep number 360 Smart Bed on sale now. Go adjust your comfort with your sleep number setting.
So can it help us fall asleep faster?
Yeah, by gently warming your feet.
But can it help keep us asleep?
Absolutely. It intelligently senses your movements and automatically adjusts to keep you both effortlessly comfortable.
So you can really promise better sleep?
Not promise, proof. It's our weekend special. Save up to $900 on select Sleep Number 360 Smart Beds plus 0% interest for 24 months and free premium delivery when you add a base. Next Monday. We're a different breed, aren't we? Others rest. We choose to work. Where others are content, we stay hungry.
Hello. Going again. So we're kind of just going back.
Moderate to severe ulcerative colitis. Never know my symptoms, but keep smart. So I talked to my doctor about Humira. I like Humira and keep UC under control. But other medications haven't worked long enough. And it helps people achieve control that lasts. So you can experience fewer or no symptoms.
Humira can lower your ability to fight infections, including tuberculosis, serious symptoms.
So here's what
cancers, including SF blood, liver, and nervous system, serious allergic reactions, and is more failure before treatment and tested for TB. Tell your sister if you're antibiotics for certain fallen infections are common. If you've had TB, hepatitis B, or protein infections, or had cold-like symptoms or sores, don't start Humira if you have an infection.
Be there for you and them. Ask your gastroenterologist about Humira. With Humira, control is possible. A lot of folks are asking me lately how to get their dishes as clean as possible. I tell them you should try Cascade Platinum plus the power of oxygen. Cascade Platinum plus oxygen breaks down food soils. Some detergents can leave behind. Washing away even the smallest food residue so it doesn't redeposit on your dishes. And Oxy is Cascade's most powerful, formulated without chlorine bleach for a hygienic clean you can see and feel. Cascade plus the power of Oxy. Recommended by American America. Did you know Liberty Mutual customizes your car insurance so you're only paying for what you need?
I should get a quote.
Do it.
Only pay for what you need.
okay, I'm sorry.
You guys are helping lose 3 year months. Skymark is here to help kids look their best. Find name brands like Lucky, Levi's, Puma, Champion, and 12C. Plus, the huge clearance savings store line. 79% off all the low prices. Hurry in.
A team losing a number of players that rendered it completely non-competitive would be an issue that we would have to address and have to think about making a change, whether that was shutting down a part of the season, the whole season, that depends on the circumstances. Same thing with respect to league-wide. You know, you get to a certain point league-wide where it does become a health threat, and we certainly would shut down.
MLB Commissioner Rob Manfred remaining positive despite the news today that the Miami Marlins home opener will be postponed after more than a dozen players and coaches tested positive for COVID-19. The Philadelphia Phillies matchup against the New York Yankees also pushed back because the Marlins just played in the Phillies stadium, so you can see how this turns into a problem. All of this a bit ominous for other sports as well, and the NFL. Phillies in the process of figuring out how they're going to manage all of this. Joining me now, Jim Gray, sportscaster and marketing leader. Hey, Jim, what do you think of all this?
Well, I think unless you're in a bubble like the NBA, this is going to be a problem. When you're trying to fly 1,500 people around and have them stay for 2 or 3 days in a city that they're not their home team, in other words, not just to where they start, they're going to have a problem because you're mixing and interacting with hotels, airplanes, even if it's a charter. And when you get outside of this bubble like the NBA is really safe right now. They have had 0 coronavirus positive tests, but they're all in a controlled environment. All of these other sports are not in a controlled environment. We'll wait and see what happens with hockey and how that goes right now. Soccer is doing pretty well. They had a number of tests, the Dallas team. So baseball has got a big problem here because of all of this travel in all of these cities and all of these hotels. It's a problem. And it's a problem for the NFL, except the NFL will only have 8 travel days, Martha. Each team will only leave their hometown 8 times, and they're trying to figure out if they can come in on the day of the game.
Yeah, I mean, I think everyone is just so desperate to watch these sports and to see everyone wants this experiment to work. One of the suggestions was that they should not worry about completing the 16 schedule. They should just sort of whatever percentage win you have, that becomes a competitive marker from team to team. I mean, doesn't everyone just have to accept that it's just different this year, but we need to sort of play ball?
It is different, however, that would become a competitive imbalance because some teams would play good teams, some teams wouldn't have enough games, some teams would play bad teams. At some point, the competitive balance of the schedule has to take precedent, I think, because otherwise, if you're not going to have it equal for all of the teams, then you're going to have an unequal champion. And then not only will there be an asterisk there, but then there'll be a lot of people wondering why that team won. So I think that they've got some hurdles to overcome, but at some point they're just going to either press forward and say we're going to play, and if we have enough guys to play, we're going to field the team, and if they don't, then it becomes too big a problem. They're going to have to reset and come to plan B. It's surprising to me that right now they don't really have plan B.
And right, as we say goodbye, I want to just show everybody just face off between an umpire and legal suggestion. Watch this.
Okay, so what I'm thinking of doing is but no,
We'll see you next time, buddy. Thank you.
there's one of us.
I guess if it gets screwed on there, you really have the mask and you can't kick up the bed, so it's a different space and time that we're living in, and the weeks right there, they accommodated one another.
All right, good night, everybody. We'll see you next year.
Welcome to Tucker Carlson's Night Happy Monday. You can tell a lot about a society that leaders. The generation that shot the people in charge of this country was political violence, hurting your neighbors for having different opinions. They were appalled by that, and they were right to be. Political violence isn't simply an assault on individual Americans. It's an attack on America itself. In this country, we govern by consent, not by force. People with guns don't make our laws. Voters do. You may have a Glock in your hand, but on election day, you have precisely as many votes as the little old lady who disagrees with you. That's our system. The weak are supposed to have as much power over the government as the strong. That is the basis of our equality as Americans, something that we should cherish and protect. Political violence immediately short-circuits this. It ends democracy. Violence instead returns us to the most primitive of all systems, one in which might makes right. People who hurt others get to do exactly what they want. Everyone else has to obey them. There is no greater threat to civilization than this, and we used to understand that because it's obvious. But things have changed. People who run this country are no longer shocked by political violence. They welcome it. They slyly encourage it. They are its beneficiaries. They tell us the only real crimes are thought crimes. It's okay to set fires or smash strangers in the face with 2x4s, so long as you are chanting the correct slogans. If you're on the right team, everything is allowed. But if you dare to dissent from the orthodoxy, you will be swiftly punished. Go ahead and express the wrong opinion. Try it in a meeting. Try it on Facebook. They will find you. You'll lose your job, your reputation, possibly even your life. The message they're sending you is very clear. Americans are not equal anymore. There are two standards in this country. One standard for them, and a very different standard for you. Over the weekend, we saw exactly what they excused from their own supporters. Armed mobs of Joe Biden voters torched buildings, smashed cars, attacked police officers.
This is what I'm going to be doing.
They hurt people, a lot of people. And the media, watching closely, lied about all of it. They pretended it didn't happen. They made excuses for it. They buried the truth in euphemism. The liars of the New York Times described the riots as, quote, protests, as if the violence was justified or could be justified. Here's the truth about what happened. Here's what actually happened in Seattle over the weekend. Take a look.
No, these were not protests. These were scenes from war. The rioters threw rocks, bottles, wood, explosives at police. One explosion left an 8-inch hole in a police precinct. Because no lie is too absurd for CNN to tell, the number described violence against police as, quote, a demonstration against police violence. Got that? It's a perfect inversion of the truth worthy of 1984. Ignorance is strength, freedom is slavery, war is peace. They repeat it because they expect you to believe it, and no doubt some do. The Seattle Police Department gamely tried to push back by releasing actual body cam footage of the violence. It's not clear how many people saw it, so we're going to show some of it to you right here. A total of 59 demonstrations of violence. CNN would like you to believe they attacked themselves. They did not. Not in Seattle, not anywhere. In Oakland, mobs with helmets and shields attacked a police station. They shot cops with fireworks. They set fire to a courthouse. Here are pictures of it. According to ABC News, the rioters you just saw were, quote, protesters. They burned the courthouse, quote, after a peaceful demonstration intensified. Oh, intensified. Just like the World Trade Center collapse when it
Sorry about that. Piece of crap.
Matthew, do you need pillowcases on your bed?
No.
You don't know why I have pillowcases on your bed?
No, I don't. I've already I can remember, Mom. I'm recording. And we can kind of hear you. Sorry about that. This is a lot. Of course.
intensified. It's remarkable. You cannot believe there are still normal people working at ABCs, maybe in the tape library or the cafeteria. Are they watching their own coverage? How can they stand it? The apologies for violence, the relentless, shameless lying. It's hard to believe they haven't resigned. They probably have mortgages and you feel for them. Just as you feel for the cameramen when they flee them off in Sacramento. They were surrounded and apparently assaulted by 150 Joe Biden voters dressed in black paramilitary and had to run for their lives. You'd think other journalists would be sympathetic to this. They used to be. Not anymore. The stakes are too high. We've got an election coming. And so instead they lie to provide cover for the rioters, the ones who threatened the cameraman. The Sacramento Bee took pains to tell you that the protests were actually peaceful. The newspaper did its best to downplay the violence, including the fact that so-called protesters are trying to disarm police helicopters with laser pointers. One of the peaceful protesters ran through the streets with a chainsaw in order to block traffic. No problem. Nothing to see here. Meanwhile, at mostly peaceful protests in Austin and Aurora, Colorado, people were shot. In downtown Louisville, heavily armed militia and military outfits walked through the city.
Sorry about that. But do this.
In Milwaukee, a black Trump supporter named Burnell Trammell was executed front of his office in broad daylight. He was killed. In Portland, Oregon, police seized a bag filled with rifle magazines and Molotov cocktails. Not a big deal. City leaders in Portland have ignored 60 straight days of rioting. It's fine, they said. Really? Here's how Portland looked over the weekend. This isn't fun. It's not normal. It's not a protest. These are children. These are adults. And they're destroying our country. They're completely out of control. They're violent. Are they punished? No. Where's the justice? Don't we have an attorney general? Is he supposed to be conservative? Why are we allowing him? Chad Wolf runs the Department of Homeland Security. Wolf, whenever you think of him, has been one of the very few officials in Washington who seems to notice that any of this is happening. He sent federal law enforcement to Portland to keep the mob from burning down the federal courthouse, which the mob does not own. It's federal property. They have no rights to torture. It's not theirs. It's ours. For doing that, for being one of the very few to actually push back a little bit, he was punished. The mob came to Chad Wolf's home yesterday, and they threatened him and his family. And they didn't do it subtly. It wasn't sudden death. They said it out loud on camera. Watch.
We must make social consequences for these individuals. We must make it uncomfortable for them. We must not keep returning. We are every single. You can live with your quietly and able to live just like us.
Oh, you're starting to figure out why the Department of Justice isn't actually doing anything, why they haven't marched the leaders of Antifa in front of the camera, why they haven't stopped this stuff, why they're acting like they're powerless. Maybe they don't want mobs like this in front of their house. Maybe mob violence works. We must make it uncomfortable for them, she says in a megaphone. What does that mean? Well, we don't need to guess, because we just spent all weekend watching what it means. Here's the contrast that we should never forget. Things change so quickly you imagine things have always been this way, but they haven't. There's a presidential election a few months from now. If you disagree with what Chad Wolf has done, you get to vote against Chad Wolf's boss. And Chad Wolf will be out of a job. That's what we used to do when this was a democracy. But not anymore. Now there's no Chad Wolf and the media law. Last month, a radio show hosted in Seattle called Paul Gallant mocked reports that his city was descending into chaos. These were peaceful protests. On Twitter, Gallant reported that he saw, quote, no burning, pillaging, or deaths. Of course, those things were happening. They existed. We showed you tape of it at the time. But Gallant pretended otherwise. We don't know that. We had to then the rioters showed up in the building where they hit the cars. And they destroyed the Starbucks downstairs. And that's scary. Now Gallant says he's buying a gun. It's not so easy to lie about violence when it's aimed at you. Jason Francis is a Seattle-based radio host. We're happy to have him on tonight. Jason, thanks so much for coming on. So you just had a lot of violence in the city of Seattle over the weekend. Tell us what you saw and tell us what the reaction from the Starbucks was, please.
Well, it's almost like we're dealing with a master class of gaslighting, because I know what I saw, and I know what a lot of people who saw the images that I posted online saw, which was violence, which was arson against 5 construction trailers, which was a Starbucks that was completely ransacked, so tried to set it on fire. And they didn't stop at Starbucks, they also impacted some other businesses. But we're being told that it's peaceful, or maybe it's just a few people, just a few bad apples in a larger crowd, as if they were redecorating the Starbucks with their rocks, as if they were celebrating police by throwing fireworks at them. What we're seeing is violence. What we saw was a riot, and people who said otherwise is lying. I understand that there's some nuance to go into when you're talking about a very large crowd and there are like 2 or 3 bad actors. But the entire crowd is almost full of bad actors. It started off people on Saturday as they walked to the Juvenile Detention Center. It was about 4,000, 5,000 people. Then they set it on fire, and then all of a sudden that crowd was about 1,500. The people who stayed are the bad actors. The people who stayed are the rioters. The people who stayed were saying some horrible things, and their goal is not to protest against police brutality. This has nothing to do with George Floyd. This has everything to do with a very specific ideology, and I think that there are politicians and media members who believe that this is going to create enough momentum and chaos to get Donald Trump out of office. I think it's a mistake. I think it's going to backfire on them. But I do think some of them are willing to sit by and see some of these cities.
Here we go.
And yes, some people
Here we
think
go.
there are an evil position to take, all because they are justifying, well, if we can get Donald Trump out of office, this guy was supposed to lead us to the end of civilization. It didn't quite actually happen over the period of the last 3.5 years. But this time it'll happen if he gets reelected. They've convinced themselves this.
I don't know what kind of person could justify harming individuals in the name of winning a presidential campaign. I don't think any decent person on either side would ever do that. I think that's right. Great to see you, man. Thank you. Good to see you. Well, speaking of violence, we're the epicenters of it in this country. This has been true for a while now. Tragically, in Chicago, 2,243 people have been shot in the city of Chicago so far this year. How many people is that? It's enough to fill 46 fully loaded school buses, and indeed many of them are children. The mayor of Chicago, Lori Lightfoot, doesn't like the police, and she's responded to this crisis by demanding more police units outside of her home. Wait a second, she doesn't like police, but she wants more cops outside her home. Why is that? Because her safety is the only thing she cares about. She knows she presides over a city where people are getting killed, and she doesn't want to be one of them. Now, sources tell this show that her district's police commander refused to move more cops into her neighborhood. He said that his officers were only stretched too thin protecting the citizens of Chicago. For this, he was punished. He was promptly reassigned to another unit. We asked the mayor's office about this, and they angrily denied it. They said the mayor had no role in the reassignment of the police commander. Of course, they didn't pledge to jump in and fix it. Or she decided to tell the truth. Anthony Molitano is an alternate in the city of Chicago who joins us tonight. Alderman, thanks so much for coming on. I'm well. But the idea that the mayor of Chicago asked for police protection for herself, thousands have been shot in the city so far this year, makes me dizzy with hypocrisy.
Yeah, I get that situation, but what I can tell you, talking to many police officers, many high-ranking officers, is a lot of these commanders, these captains, these lieutenants are getting to the boiling point right now. They feel so understaffed. They don't have enough men and women police officers on the street, and when they're forced to reallocate police to different portions of the city, they can't handle the crime going on right now. They're leaving their districts and their neighborhoods more vulnerable. It's getting to the point right now, like this before, we're not able to keep up with the rate of attrition because these bosses are retiring. They feel like they're leaving their men and women out there in harm's way, and it's a scary point right now for them.
So, if you look at the crime stats in the city, and they're overwhelming and tragic, because each one represents a life ended or certainly halted, you got to kind of, no honest person could conclude that the police are responsible for 2,400 shootings, or not. The cops can do that. What's the purpose of pulling back the police in the middle of a crime rate? Honestly.
If you actually look at the stats, I think shooting-wise, in the city of Chicago, police account for maybe 0.06% of the shootings.
Exactly.
Compiled, actually, our numbers is in 8 years, almost 23,000 people were shot. Pulling it back right now, I don't know. It just doesn't make any sense. We can't get enough police officers actually even take this job right now because of the defund movement and the anti-police movement. But on top of it right now, officers they're not afraid to be the police. They want to be given the go ahead to be the police and have someone actually back them. Someone get behind them and know that they're doing their job to the best of their ability. And mistakes will happen, but you're going to back them on behalf of saving the city. Pulling resources is I live in a 16th district, 32 square miles. Sometimes we'll have 3 to 4 police officers patrolling the 16th district. That's absolutely ludicrous. We should have anywhere between 32 and 38 street area district. But it's based on the reallocation of officers to other areas. And it's forcing officers off this job.
It's terrifying. You're one of 50 alternate. I hope the other 49 listen to you and the mayor. Just follow time. Thanks so much for coming on today. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Well, Major League Baseball started its season last week. That's the good news. The bad news is the coronavirus is already threatening to end it. Dr. Marcelo joins us after the break.
Wants to make arrowheads with it, but at the same time, they're hunting because they're at a vantage point, and they're sitting up here chipping away at rocks and looking for caribou or moose, whatever. And just doing what they're doing, but with more modern technique. I'm not up here with a stone chipping away at a rock, trying to make it into an arrow, you know. I mean, I got a rifle.
Okay, so doing pretty good.
It's fascinating to see that. I like that. Feels like I'm part of it too. Always better to go high. You know, they can see more, see which way caribou are moving. You know, where they're crossing something. You just have to sit and watch. Out here providing means a lot, you know, to bring meat home for the family means a real lot. It's something to do together, and what I saw crews not getting out of it, I was very happy because they're doing something together, and they're both enjoying it, and they're providing for themselves, and that's great. Come on, man. I hope they get caribou today because it'll boost their confidence and their morale for being out here. Personally, my feeling is, I think if they like it, there is a chance that this is the start of their life out here. It would keep the legacy going. That'd be my dream come true. We just have to sit and watch and see which way caribou are moving. Maybe head down to Curtis Scott later on, you know. Caribou eat this stuff. I don't see it. I don't see it. You're on a little bit?
We'll walk over that side.
It's wonderful when we have hunting together. Me and Scott got to have a, what do we call it, date from you know. It was good to have a little bit of maybe free time.
Who gets to shoot? Rock, paper, scissors for it?
Whether it's changing your diaper, rock, paper, scissors, we will solve. You gotta agree, somebody gets it.
It's crazy.
Great spot in there. Just over the range. So she's gonna go up. See if she can show it.
Corinne's a really good runner. She's got a lot of patience and a lot of skill, and she doesn't like to come home empty-handed, so she tends to be very successful.
She can see him. I'm gonna wait here. She's gonna make the last speak by herself. Try to live in the rock. They all want that. It's him. Now the secrets are creeping up. They're following it.
It's kind of like a date night for a friend of mine. You know, we'd rather go hunting or fishing together than go to a movie and a nice dinner. It's just tennis. You get that? Yeah. And watching the deer, she does. And it's beautiful.
Is that exactly what it's like? My mom has that. It's all administration. It's not affecting me. I mean, I think they're my personality way. It feels like an complicated individual in yourself. That from pleasure and sport and everything with yourself. The first thing is family. I mean, first shot. Very exciting.
There's something with it.
Hey, Wolverine. On the outside, Wolverine.
Bear with us, man. Wolverine's leading.
When managing diabetes, you can't always stop for a finger stick. With the Freestyle Libre 14-day system and continuous glucose monitor, you don't have to. With a painless 1-second scan, you can check your glucose with a smartphone book here, so you can stay in the moment, no matter where you are and what you're doing. Ask your doctor for a prescription for the Freestyle Libre 14-day system. You can do it without...
For Major League Baseball tonight, consider going.
It's totally normal to have constipation with belly pain, straining, and blowing again and again. No way. More exercise, more water, and more fiber is the only way to manage it. Get that? Maybe you think, constipation. Wake up. It could be a chronic medical condition called IBS-C, and time to say yes to Linzess. Linzess works differently than laxatives. It helps relieve belly pain and lets you have more frequent and complete bowel movements. Do not give Linzess to children less than 6, and it should not be given to children 6 to less than 18.
Now, do you have something to put in the way?
Immediate help if you develop unusual
Okay.
especially the most common side effect is diarrhea, sometimes severe. If it's severe, start taking Linzess and call your doctor right away. Other side effects include gas, stomach ache, pain, and swelling. Change your thinking to IBS-C. If your constipation and belly pain keeps coming back, tell your doctor and say yes to Linzess. You will not hurt your snack because you want a perfect dose for
I'm sorry. You've most likely only been hearing like stuff in the background.
For a few days. I'm just hoping that when I medicate, I found someone
Do you consider yourself?
Your stars for only $5 a month for 6 months. Go to mydish.com/stars5.
This is Kino Turmeric. Turmeric helps with healthy joints and inflammation support. Unlike regular turmeric supplements, Kino's superior version helps me get the full benefits of turmeric. Kino is the turmeric brand I trust.
This is a hernia mesh legal alert. If you experience problems following hernia repair that resulted in removal of the hernia mesh, you may have a case.
Call 1-800-215-1697 for a free case evaluation.
I will find you the perfect house. Oh yeah, I know exactly where you are. All you have to do is lie. Premiere.
On the outside, Wolverine. On the outside, right there.
first Wolverine I've ever seen. It's right there in the rocks. Right behind that caribou. Who knows, maybe the Wolverine was stalking it too.
First time together, first season out here, and I see my first Wolverine on the first trip out. Quite rare seeing it come out. Very exclusive. And so seeing my Wolverine was icing on the cake. You know? How long has it been since you shot it?
Years, 15 years,
15 years.
10, 15 years. Hopefully, get a camera every year, you know?
Do you care what we do?
Yeah, get a few cameras every year. At least one of them, you know? I think it's recognized, especially on that art, I'm excited to experience it with them and share with them and teach them about living out here.
Now I hope to get all 15 of our kids up here on Hong should have carried rope one time or another. We'll put one little piece in each backpack and they can carry it out for us. Once we get the caribou down to the river, date night's over.
Yeah.
Gotta go back to the kid. While Grandma's still got it, we're enjoying every second of it. Just us time.
Don't take the time. It was definitely the best date I've ever had. Last time I went hunting, caribou, fun, I think.
Watch that Wolverine.
All these smells, I don't want a predator coming in thinking they got it easy.
Skyline, behind that brush.
Yeah, I got it.
If we can pack two,
Yeah. We're sitting there cutting up that one and stuff is cutting off over the bridge.
alright, Chris. Caribou now?
We figured we'd get one caribou. That's the best we can hope for. Get two together is amazing.
We're gonna have heart, kidney, liver.
He's happy that we can show my dad that he can provide for our family. He's proud of himself and I'm proud of him, you know. I'm not gonna show that.
Sounds great.
Just watch that Wolverine.
Yeah, right?
Doesn't get any more real than this. We didn't get caribou, we didn't have meat.
You're getting
We
close.
don't have caribou, we have this. We didn't have meat.
My mom's been out here providing for her family for years and years and years. I know that concerns them a little bit. So it's really nice that we both get
So he knows we are capable.
he knows currently, but he has to know that to provide for one too.
I also am proud.
Oh, no, we're not me. Anything else?
No.
That.
Okay, we're doing good.
It's so cold right now. I can't stay warm. The doctor said I needed more time to see exactly what's going on. And then they had x-rays of damaged vertebrae, maybe a damaged rib, something that could be cancer. They never saw that before. But they said, when did I break my tailbone? I said, I didn't break it. I never fell. I don't remember falling. The pain is something I don't want. And, today I'm going to fight it out. I've been cold since I got sick. Don't produce It's terrible. I'm born and raised in New Jersey. I remember when I was 6 years old, we had a river going through that city. And there was a swampland around it for a half mile. No one walked in there, except me. There was one other trapper I saw with a boat who trapped a pig. And I finally wound up meeting that guy, and he showed me how to skin a muskrat. And from that point on, I was sold. It cemented me to be a trapper.
I'm going to get some water. The baby's passed out sleeping. Getting water buckets and stuff like that is all really hard when you're in a baby. I didn't wear water shoes like an idiot. Like no water shoes and a baby. Are you kidding me? So dumb. I mean, people take water for granted, but we never have. Part of our life out here is just carrying buckets around. We've just never had running water. Out in town, out here, we're always hauling water, hauling water. For dishes, for laundry, for washing anything, for drinking, for dogs, and it's a lot harder to haul water when you're carrying a baby. There we go. I mean, luckily, life's about to change big time for us. Yeah, definitely. Well, it's so worth it because even this one water help just for some drinking water is kind of a fee, but at least I don't have to do, 3 or 4 trips at least. That's if this works. We'll see.
Jack was one of 6 million pets in animal shelters in Neighbor Home. He found it in a boy with special needs, who also needed him. As part of our love promise, Subaru and our retailers host adoption events and have donated $28 million to support local animal shelters. We're proud to have helped over 230,000 pets so far, changing the lives of dogs like Jack and the families who adopt them. Subaru, more than a car company.
Introducing Boost Mobile's all-new Trigger Plan. The longer you stay, the less you pay. Start at just $45 per month. After 3 on-time payments, your bill shrinks to $40 per month. Get it to hand. After 3 more on-time payments, your bill drops to just $35 per month and save. The best part, your bill shrinks, but the data amount doesn't. Plus, get a free LG K51 new switch. All on our new upgraded network. Save with our new Trigger Plan.
Okay,
Somebody wanted to know how apartments.com. Some people are ready to find their place at any other site. By digitally upgrading every one of our employees.
you have any Victoria's Secrets?
Now, everybody at apartments.com
That's the only
can
one
and does
out of the one.
make 10%.
You still got a shirt out here. You have.
Okay, and by the way, I'm still recording.
Apartments.com. There must be a place to find a place.
We don't give a
This has been, these last 3 months, I have been wondering about the future in many ways.
I'm not the only one. Going to this telling my dearest friends their businesses are so close. There's always peaks and valleys. Even through this pandemic, we're all in a valley at this moment. But the one thing you can always know is that there's a peak on the way.
What?
You want to go for a walk?
No.
Hey, mommy, I love you. It was letting me do a walk right now.
Can I go get a drink?
Take in fragrance inspired by nature with Airwick Essential Mist. With kits starting at just $10, you can transform natural essential oils into mist at a price that is just right. Experience Airwick Essential Mist.
Working on it. We have weaknesses, we have strengths. All we want out of you right now is the truth.
There's a really skinny dog that's going to be in back there for a few days. Because I can't tell the way you're looking at me right now. I'm just hoping that when I open the gate, that dog's not going to attack me.
Hike number 3. Well, we're about to start hike number 3. We've driven the driver, which is 4 feet, and another piece of well pipe, which is 5'2". But we need to keep going. We're probably not in the water yet. But it's going real slow. I mean, we've never done this before. It's all a learning process. But so far, I'm pretty optimistic. It's going. That's all that really matters. It just keeps going down. Hold it straight. It's real simple technology. You got a pipe and something to drive the pipe in the ground with. And I think the water table here is probably around 15 feet or so. It's a fun number, easily. So you drive that into the ground, and then you just keep screwing sections of pipe onto it and pounding those into the ground until it's far enough down and you strike gold, you know, so to speak.
10 more inches to go till the pipe goes on. Sydney, are you going to grow up with running water in the house?
Come on, man. Just water. Take that cap off there.
I have an idea. Let's just get the string line out and put something that we can put down to see if it gets wet.
Probably a good idea. We need something like that will go down the hole.
It's kind of big.
You don't want anything getting stuck.
Yeah,
This will work good.
it will.
You get a huge improvement in our life. If we hit water. Now we'll go. Here we go. Alright, so this is all dry. So we'll know how far in we are.
Yeah, you be able to see that, but
Daddy's getting us water.
Sounds well.
should be good.
So we're in water right here. We're in water like 4 feet.
Oh, perfect.
We got the water!
Oh yeah.
Oh my goodness!
That's great. We can put that pump on there. Let's just put that pump on there and try it. All you gotta do is just drive it on and start pumping.
Well, pump it up, man.
Stoked.
Okay, here we go.
Uh-oh.
Good quality. Yeah. What's got a 3 now?
Oh, you have no idea what's happening. Yeah, pumping water in the house. The cold is so nice. Get on. Dishes. Bath. Laundry. So easy now.
We're rich.
We're not cool on the water now.
Kitties, can I get stockings on that?
Sure.
There we go.
All right.
Yep. Oh, that's awesome. Let's get back now.
Yeah, just showing the road.
Well, I'm at the base of Lummock Mountain now, waiting for Brendan Scott to come down. I don't know if they got caribou, they might, and if they do, it'd be good, great. The hardest thing for a couple out here, well, I think it would be a challenge for them to get along out here. That's what the challenge is gonna be. Then, when I first was abroad or out here, it was a learning curve.
What's that thing?
Yeah, just go back to moving.
Imagine being married and seeing your wife 24/7, 365 days a year. That's not easy. I mean, how many couples can do that? That's where the real test is. But it's much better to live out in the bush like this with someone that you love than nobody. Sit away and see what happens, and hopefully they got something. If a couple can come out here and last a winter or 2 winters or 3 winters or 4 winters, that'll bond them closer, much closer. This is like a testing ground being out here, really. It is. You did? You did? Wow, good for you. Why? You both did? Did you really? 5?
5, you know, 5.
Yeah, I got 5.
You didn't shoot any, you didn't even see any.
Really? Let's get going before the rain comes. Get up, yeah. Really? We're ready. Good job. Mommy, shake out.
Keeping your family safe while you play. We're exceeding sanitization standards, implementing flexible traffic policies, and limiting reservations so you and your family can enjoy more socially distanced space. Let us keep your family safe while you play.
Looks like I gotta go. Bye.